Hello and welcome to you. God bless you. It's great to see you. I was conscious that I haven't shown you our building. So what I want to do is I'm conscious we've been doing lots and lots of building work recently, and you might have heard me talk about this, but it is our church that we are building together for God and for the people of faith, to serve the people of Fakenham. So I want to show you some of the things that have been done and to talk to you about how you can start to now get involved. Now government restrictions are now easing, how we can work within those. Now, something to consider. First off, we have to consider there's still the COVID-19 regulations that are in place. So people won't be able to work here in groups, so we're going to have people that work in here by themselves or as members of their own household. And the second thing is we want to be able to give everybody the opportunity to join in with that work, and we'll talk about that as we go around. So let's open the doors and have a look what's going on inside, shall we? So for those of you that can remember our first visit here, this was quite a dark and dank hallway. And for those of you that came and helped knock all of that down, which I really appreciate, thank you very much for the time that you gave up, it's no longer here. Amazing. So what is here is a nice, bright and airy open space, which we've been working hard to be able to convert into something that we can use. So the first of that is this. So what we've got now is our room for the children's ministry. So ignore this bit of plasterboard because technically that's a window, and I'll come on to that in a moment. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see me in here, but what I can tell you is there's no lights yet. So the electrician is coming in and he's putting in spotlights and he's putting in a heating above what you can now see is a window this size. So I'll start to talk about some of the works that have yet to be done, and as we go around the building, how you can get involved. So this window, for example, once the electrician has finished putting all of the lighting in and the heating in, this piece of plasterboard the other side, whoops, which I nearly pushed over, will indeed need re-screwing back on, the hole cutting in, there'll be wood and then a piece of safety glass that needs to be fitted in here, which will then make this a very nice room. Afterwards, there is then going to be, this is all going to need to be taped and then skimmed, for those of you that have heard of doing this before, which means basically filling these joints with mortar with tape over the top. Then the whole thing is going to need to be painted, and we've got all the paint for that already. Lastly, we've got plywood to go down on the floor and some very nice carpet tiles, which I'll show you in a moment. But this is a nice 3.5 metres by 3.5 metres, 2.5 metre tall room with plug sockets and with a window and heating. So other things that need to be done here, be careful as you walk backwards. The other things that need to be done in here, as you can see, we haven't got a door on here yet. So we've got the frame, which is square, and we've got the frame, which is the old frame, for those of you that remember tearing this out, hence the blue. This is all going to need sanding down, and obviously the bits, the furniture fitted on the outside, for those of you know what I'm on about, and also then a door hanging in here. So we could put a plain white door or one with a window. The problem is the difference between a plain white door and one with a window is about 100 quid. So we're conscious of budget. We don't want to ended up moving into a building and find ourselves in financial problems. So plain white door I think will be absolutely fine for the moment. As you can see here, we've got new lighting. So these are our new bulkhead lights, which I haven't switched on. These are our new bulkhead lighting. So as you can see, it adds a nice ambient feel to the place. At the moment, the lighting that you can see is the main strip lights, which we can have on, adds a nice amount of light to the building. And as you can see right above my head here, we've also got our heating fitted, which on a day like today, when I'm in shorts, you don't quite need. However, I promise you, at some point in an industrial unit, we're definitely going to need heating. And this is a very modern infrared heating that's been fitted. The next thing that you can see, our carpet tiles have been delivered. All 500 of them, which will at some point need to be glued down to the floor. So we've got the glue, so the whole floor needs to be cleaned, it needs to be hoovered and mopped, and then roll on the glue and then stick these carpet tiles down. So that's another job that we'll need to do. And that one's towards the end, obviously, once we've finished doing everything else, because we don't want to get the carpet dirty. Another job that needs to be done. This is the fire exit door, which, as you can see, has had something put onto it, but will need undercoating and glossing white, and so that people know where to get out of the building in the event of a fire. There will never be a fire here in Jesus' name. Amen. We've also got, one thing to say to you is, you might remember we knocked down loads and loads of stuff. And what I'm really pleased to say is that we've managed to recycle lots of it. Now, God is the God of recycling. He recycled us, made us brand new from a load of rubbish. So we have been able to build lots of what we've got here from the stuff that was left over. We bought very small amounts of wood to be able to do that room. The other thing that we've got is we've got still bits of a pile of wood left over, and what we need to build in that corner is a stage. We've got sheets of chipboard that are still left over, and with bits of 6x2 we need to form and make a stage for that corner. The other thing is, people might say, well, I'm not so good at building work, but I can do a paintbrush. Well, as you can see, we've got 20 metres of skirting board which needs undercoating and painting. So if you're handy with a paintbrush, the beauty is you only need to do it on one side because the other side's against the wall. So if you're handy with a paintbrush and wondering what you could do, then there is still A, that room to be painted, but B, there's some undercoating and some glossing to be done if you are so inclined. The next thing to show you, as you can see, we've got some little piles of rubbish. The wood will be recycled, either finishing off the works we've got here, or I know there's people with wood burners who are quite happy to use it. The metals will all go for recycling as well, which is fantastic, because we don't really want anything having to go to landfill. And so far, apart from 2 skip of plasterboard and general rubbish we had, now has gone there. So this takes you into the toilette area. So here we've got some glossing of this glossing white, the door and frame that needs to be done. This could do with a second coat of grey, so we've got the paint for that, and potentially even the ceiling white, but we'll have a good look at that. In this area we've got another door that needs to be painted white, and then at the moment there is no colour going on in this toilet, so this will need coating grey as well. Pleased to say the toilet, all that limescale, for those you remember, came out of the toilet and the sink. Now, a point to say about that before we get started is currently we don't yet have running water, so we've got a trickle of supply. So toilet facilities are here, but not hand washing facilities. So if people do want to come and work here by themselves, you're going to need to bring some wipes, or we can supply some hand gel so people can wipe their hands afterwards. So yes, we do have a toilet here, but it would be wise for people to bring drinks and potentially something to help wash their hands with. The other thing that we're going to need to do is to paint this floor, which as you can currently see is red, but will be a nice dark grey colour. So there's some floor paint to go down here, which will then go with the rest of the scheme. The other thing to show you, for those of you that might be a bit geeky, a little bit technical on plumbing, is this is the water supply, hot and cold, that comes into this sink. The sink unit we're going to put in for the tea and coffee area is directly the other side of this wall. So we'll be drilling through the wall, putting in a T-piece, and then taking a feed off that, and then backwards for our waste that goes in the other side. So let's go through and I'll show you that tea and coffee area now. So as I said, we haven't wasted anything. And so this is actually all of the old joists. For those of you that can remember, there's still one of the old hangers up there. You can see that the beams that went across, we've repurposed, and these are all of the old joists. Now, this area here is going to need all sanding. So there's a lot of sanding to be done without destroying some of the labels and bits and pieces on it, which are quite nice, and rustics, things like stamps on the ends of the stuff. So this area here will all need sanding down with medium grit sandpaper, either by hand or with an electric sander. And then we've got some very nice dark wax which can then be rubbed in to make best use of this wood. There is then if you stay there is then a couple of a couple of kitchen worktops to go in here, and we're going to use the rest of that wood that's left over to build a frame to go underneath to support that, and to have some shelving underneath for putting the cups and coffee and bits and pieces. We've then got a sink to go in this area, and a little unit, and then there'll be a kitchen worktop, and the other side of that, in the front in the corner, will be where the baby Burco boiler will go for hot water, which is then well out of the way of everybody and a bit safer. Already got power supply there, that's where the water will come through, and so anybody, there might be a dab hand, but putting together a small kitchen sink unit would be much appreciated. And I've already had the name of the gentleman suggested to me who might be pretty good at tiling. So there'll be some nice tiles to go on the wall behind there. And then we'll have a nice kitchen tea coffee area where we can then prepare drinks and where we can welcome people as they come in. As you can see, this area now is a lot wider. It's a lot wider than it was before. So that's our church. That's where we've got to so far. So I'd encourage everybody to get involved. Now, the last thing just to talk to you about is our chairs. So it's all very well us having all of this stuff done. So the last thing that we're saying to people is really appreciate everybody that has provided us with tithes and offerings, which is paying for our bills and much other stuff, which is fantastic. The last thing that we're saying to people is if they feel moved, if they feel inclined to, is please could they contribute to buying a chair for the church. And these chairs will cost us £25 each. We're going to need 50 chairs. So far, we've got 15 of those covered, which is fantastic, and really appreciate people that giving. So we're asking people could they contribute for the cost of the chair or chairs that they would normally sit on. Unfortunately, you're not going to have little plaques on the name of your back. Nor will it be your chair. However, you will know that you have contributed towards that. So these chairs are £25 each. As I said, so far we've got 15 out of 50 covered, which is fantastic. As the government is easing lockdown, the latest news, don't forget we don't get special briefings, usually the same stuff we do. The latest from the government is that potentially places of worship can open up from the 4th of July. Now, in what format that is anybody's guess. We have no idea. Are we going to open up church and been able to 2 metres social distance? You're not going to be able to stop me hugging you, let's be fair. So, what format is church going to be in? Nobody knows. What we're saying though is we want to be able, the building that God has blessed us with, that's blessed our church family with, we want to be able to work together as a team to be able to get this finished by the 4th of July so that if we are able to do things, we can. So what we're saying to people is we're going to, you've seen the work that needs to be done, mainly painting, mainly glossing, mainly getting some paint into the toilet and on the floor, and sanding and waxing and putting bits together. Let's all get involved. Let's all get involved as a team, because it's our church that we are building together as a family to glorify God and to see the people of Fakenham and the surrounding villages be saved. This is not a social club. This is where we are coming to meet, to worship God, and so that people are going to know about Jesus and people are going to be saved and enter into the kingdom. This is a temporary home, not our main home. So, God bless you. Please do get in contact if you want to help out, and we'll try and get a list together of where and when people are coming into the unit, because as I said, we can't have people working in here together unless they're from the same household. So if you are husband and wife, of course you can be in here. But if you are, but it's no use, I shouldn't say no use, sorry. We can't have 2 friends or 2 people from church working in the building together. The reason I say that is we've got to maintain 2 metres social distancing and also be seen to encouraging people to do that still in their day-to-day lives. So if people do want to come here, do some painting or pick up some wood and do some glossing at home, that would be fantastic. I'd encourage you all, do get involved in building our church together. So, we love you very much. Can't wait until we can all meet in here one day all together. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.